What is up, gamers and tech fans? I am back, and today we're going to be talking about a $400 PC build. Right now you can pick all the parts up for about $430. If you wanted to cut budget and you didn't need you say you don't need a DVD drive, you can get about $410, which you can download the operating system through a USB flash drive if you wanted to do that. But a lot of the parts will go on sale, so be sure to keep an eye out for that if you're wanting to hit that $400 budget. So let's go over the parts and let's just see what you can get with this PC. Now I just want to mention one quick thing, that this PC is not meant for full 1080p gaming on every game. However, it will be able to run a majority of the games at 1080p, but a lot of them it's probably going to have to put somewhere around 720p just because of the demand. Also, this PC build is also meant with a dedicated GPU, which means it actually has a graphics card and not an APU, because APUs, they have a lot of performance per dollar, but not best for trying to run 1080p games. So first up, we're going to go with the case, and in this build we're going to use the Thermaltake version 3 Black Edition mid-tower gaming case. This case comes around at $30. It's probably the best bang for your buck mid-tower gaming case you can have. It has plenty of room for upgrades, full ATX motherboards, not full ATX motherboards, I'm sorry, an ATX motherboard, plenty of room for air cooling, and it can support a full-size GPU. Plus the design of this case is just so sleek, and it's probably one of my favorite cases that you can get for around $30. Any competing cases, such as the micro ATX cases, will run you about $30 as well, so it's better to have a bigger case that can support more stuff if you can get it around the same price. Next up, we're going to go with the motherboard. Now this is a really budget-friendly motherboard, but it can still support all you need it to do. So this is the MSI FM2 AMD A75 motherboard. It has two DIMM slots for memory. It is, like I said, an FM2 socket motherboard. This is going to be used for the processor. It has one X16 pin graphics slot, as well as two X1 PCI Express slots, which you can use for upgrades such as a Wi-Fi card if that's necessary, which I'll be also leaving in the description below. That's going to run the price up about another $20 or so. It also has a standard PCI slot, which is not really used that much nowadays, so it's kind of useless. But this motherboard can have a total upgradability of 16 gigs of RAM using two 8 gig slots, and this motherboard comes in at a total of $56. Up next, we're going to go over the CPU, and that's going to be the AMD Athlon X4 quad-core processor. This processor has a turbo boost of up to 4 gigahertz. It's a very powerful processor, and it can run any game. It's actually very comparable to the i5 when gaming, especially on a lower end graphics card like what we will be using. It doesn't really show much of a difference until you get into the really high end graphics cards, such as the Radeon 7970 or the Radeon 9990 or the GTX 680 cards like that. You will only see typically around a 15 to 20 FPS gain by using an i5 over this processor. So this is a very good processor, especially for the dollar, because it comes in around $80. And up next, we have the RAM, and this is going to be the Corsair Vengeance Blue. It's a very beautiful looking RAM. This is a single 4GB stick of RAM, which runs at 1600 megahertz and will work perfectly on this motherboard. Now this RAM comes around price about $45. And now guys, this is a power supply that not a lot of people really recommend, but I like to recommend it because it's a very good power supply. It is the Kentech 850 watt power supply. It's the one I use. Most people for this budget range can only get a 430 watt power supply, such as the Corsair 430 watt power supply, which runs about $40 to $45, and this Kentech 850 watt power supply runs about $46. This power supply also has plenty of connectors for heavy upgrading on graphics in your CPU, and lots and lots of accessories such as hard drives and DVD drives, as well as Blu-ray drives, or whatever you're into like that. Up next will be the hard drive. Now I didn't want to sacrifice too much on the hard drive. I thought about going with like about a a 320 gig hard drive just to downsize the build, but 320 gigs, when I really look back at it, is not that much. You can get away with doing it, but I recommend just going for the 500 gig Western Digital Caviar Blue SATA 3 7200 RPM drive, which gives you plenty of storage for all your games and whatever else you want to do. And this hard drive is going to come in around $56. Up next is going to be the Sapphire Radeon HD 7770. This is going to be, of course, your video card, and it's going to come around $105. Now, the best part about this is it has an HDMI port plus one dual link DVI-I port as well as a display port. Now, this card has 640 stream processors with a core clock of 1000 megahertz. And I just want to mention again, guys, this graphics card comes in at about $105. It's a very good card for its dollar. Let's talk about the kind of games you can play on this, and like I said, most games you're going to be able to run in 720p, but there's going to be a lot of them you can push 1080p on low settings, such as like Battlefield 3. I don't want to go over Battlefield 4, I know it's out, but Battlefield 4 is not well optimized yet, because I know it's just the it's currently only the beta's out, and the beta is not very well optimized. It kind of has struggles even performing on high-end graphics cards such as the 690. I've heard cases where some people are reporting about 30 to 40 FPS with that card, so it's not the best game to try to compare with this card. Will it run Battlefield 4 when it comes out? Yes, it will. Will it run it at 1080p? Probably not. You'll probably be limited to about 720p, but you'll easily get 40 to 50 FPS at 720p. Now, going back to Battlefield 3, this game is going to easily run at on 1080p. It's going to be recommended that you try low settings because you'll only be getting about a 40 to 50 FPS gain on this at 1080p. So I recommend keeping on low. However, you can run on medium settings because you'll be somewhere between the 35 to 40 FPS, which is not that bad, and medium settings look really good. Now, for the gameplay in the background, that's going to be Metro Last Light, and there's questions, can you run Metro Last Light on this card? Metro Last Light's a really good game, it's very intensive on the GPU, and there's a lot of questions out there, can it run it? Yes, it can run it at 720p perfectly, but it can also do 1080p if you drop the settings down low, turn off SSAA, which is the anti-aliasing, and the tessellation, and make sure the PhysX is off, because, well, your GPU just doesn't support PhysX because, well, I'm sorry, Advanced PhysX, because it's an AMD card and Advanced PhysX is for NVIDIA cards. But anyway, guys, that is the build. One more thing, guys, I wanted to add in was the fact that if you are new to building a PC, as well as I will leave a tutorial video in the description below. It's the best one I used when I was building my PC a while back, and it'll help you guide through. Make sure you pay attention to the AMD side of it all, because they do go over AMD build and Intel build all in one video. Also, when they mention thermal paste and stuff like that, you'll be using the stock cooler, so don't worry about thermal paste, it's already on the cooling unit itself. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, I'm going to go over the DVD drive. It's going to be a LG DVD drive, and it's going to come around $20, and this is not meant for like putting your games on there and stuff, because a lot of people use hard disk games anymore. They use Origin or they use Steam and go for digital downloads, which is where the 500 gig hard drive comes in. And like I said, this comes around $20. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed. The whole build pretty much comes around $130 at this current time. But like I said, a lot of the parts do go on sale, so stay tuned, check out that. I got some better builds coming for you guys. I got a $500 build coming. And I just want to mention the last bit of here again. The operating system is not included because I know a lot of people, well, they might have a separate operating system lying around, or find another means of getting operating system, because a lot of people feel it's, well, completely overpriced. I myself had a separate copy from my Alienware PC that I upgraded to a better PC from. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been JC Stay tuned for more tech news. Peace!